Welcome back, all of my students at Imad Online Academy. I am Muhammad Qasim here, your English language teacher. This part of our narrative writing lecture series is very important and highly relevant for all of you, as many students sometimes get stuck with how to start the story in a beautiful way. So I am going to share with you different types of story starters with examples and what type of influence they will have on the readers by stating their purpose. So there can be different types of story starters. One type of story starters are action driven starter, that you begin just with some action, your story, some striking action that might appeal your readers. The example is here. The moment the door slammed shut, Jason knew he was trapped. You know, you can start with a wonderful, with a action that can create suspense in the minds of readers. So instantly plunge the reader into the action, creating excitement and a sense of urgency. Here is second type of story starter. You can start with your story by introducing some of your characters. So character focused starter, you can make your points, bullet points, you can take notes from this video that is going to help you for your exam preparation later on, and also practice using all these techniques. I would recommend you use these different techniques to begin and write your own story. Character focused starter. Lime had always been afraid of the dark, but tonight it was more than just fear that kept him awake. So this is a description of a character. You are introducing a character to start to begin your story. So introduces the character's internal conflict, giving readers insight to their emotions or mindset, what type of person he is, what emotions does he have. Third type of story starting technique is setting driven starter. This type of setting driven starter means that you start your story by describing the setting of your story, the atmosphere, the place and time, like that. The fog lay thick over the quiet village, muffling the sounds of the world beyond. So, this type of story starter establishes a strong sense of place, drawing reader into the environment and setting the mood. So it takes the reader into that, what type of the place it is where the story is beginning. Fourth way that you can start your story with is like give a mysterious starter. No one ever found out what happened that night, and perhaps it was better that way. So the purpose of this type of mysterious starter is that you want to build immediate intrigue, encouraging the reader to wonder about the untold events, unexpected, some unseen events that might happen after that, because there is something mysterious that you have begin your story with. There is fifth type of technique that you can start your story with. It's dialogue starter. You can add the dialogue of one of your characters in the story. I thought you said we had never have to come back here, Ben whispered, eyes wide with fear. This type of story starter, when you begin your story with a dialogue of a character that is there in your story, you introduce tension, or you may introduce character interaction right way, engaging the reader through his speech. You will master all these skills just with your practice. You can take one by one all these starter and write the paragraph, the first passage of your story using these different types of story starters. Okay. There can be another type of story starter, that is thought-provoking starter. You can use this one as well. It's strange how one decision made in a split second can change the course of an entire life. So this type of witty statements or thought-provoking statements or sentences, expressions you can add to begin your story with. It also depends on the type of question that you have in exam to write the story. Keep it in your mind. It's not just a one night game. You need to do continuous practice for this. Take these different types of story starter and write different stories by this. You can send your stories through our official WhatsApp number of admission department at Imad Online Academy. You can submit your answers, your beautiful stories to be reviewed by our expert teachers. Then next type of, so this type of like thought-provoking starter actually encourages the reader to think deeply about the situation and prepares them for a story centered on consequences or choices. Next type of story starter can be a descriptive starter. You can describe something. The golden rays of the setting sun filtered through the trees, casting long, shifting shadows on the forest floor. This type of story starter, descriptive starter, you can describe a zoo, you can describe your home where you have begun to story, you can describe your school, some place there that you are going to start your story with. The purpose of this starter is to capture the reader's intention with vivid imagery and sets the tone for a reflective or immersive narrative that your readers will reflect upon what's going on here. Conflict oriented starter, this is very tricky for some of students, might be difficult as well, but you need practice. Also search those stories, and you can also mention the stories and books that you have studied till now in the comment section below that you think had a conflict oriented starter. You can share your own readings and experiences as well. They had been best friends their entire lives, but today everything changed. So it introduces a central conflict right from the start, making the reader curious about what will unfold. So, conflict oriented starter is really a brilliant one, but you must have then the skill to properly handle this conflict, to keep it to the climax, and then to resolve this conflict in your story and then create a good ending of the story. It might be tricky one, but with practice you can master this as well. Flashback starter. These are also very interesting starters. The smell of freshly baked bread always took Sarah back to that summer at her grandmother's house. So it engages reader with nostalgia and a shift between past and present, allowing for deeper character exploration. There is also a narrative technique that we call stream of consciousness narrative technique. Stream of consciousness lets your mind moving, lets the narration moving in present, past, and future. In that provides you an opportunity to explore the minds of your characters deeply. The last type of story starter is unusual statement. I never believed in ghosts until I became one. So it hooks the reader with a surprising or unusual statement, sparking curiosity about how the story will develop. I never believed in ghosts until I became one. So these story starters can be tailored to various narrative writing styles, helping you kick off your stories with impact. Just practice it. Also read a lot of stories and share what do you think, what type of story starters they are using. Thanks for watching. For other topics of narrative writing, wait for the next videos.